Welcome back to Route 40 Rust. We're back on the F100 big block swap. We finally button up a few loose ends on our 360 here, roll the 63 halfway into the garage, and try to stuff this motor in. Quick disclaimer, we just separated that calf from mama cow. She's a little unhappy, so you might hear some barnyard noises in the background. You just kind of have to do your best and try to ignore them, look past them so we can concentrate on what we got to get done. And what we got done last time was we pulled the front clip and the engine out of the 63 Ford. As you could tell, that's right there, and that's right there, and the engine is somewhere over there. Anyway, she had a straight six 223. It ran, but we're not going to use it, obviously, because we're big block swapping this, which brings me to my next point. Got to get going on this FE motor. Now, I don't exactly recall where I left off on it, but we do need some more lighting in here. There's a little bit of tricky stuff in here that I don't know if I got it all right. But we're just going to start tearing into it and go from there. Might immediately stop in its tracks, or we might get it done. Yeah. Trying to remember what we were doing. All right, if I remember right, we were, beating on these headers with a hammer and grinding on this cross member here. This little beauty is from Transdapt, and it is available to swap FE engines into 61 to 64 Ford F100s. A little bit of clearance issues, but when you run headers on any sort of swap, you run into stuff like that, so no big deal. I need to take all of this off so I can get the pan back off, because we're missing an oil pump, pickup tube, oil pump drive shaft, and we don't even know if this is the right oil pan. Well, here's the Transdapt cross member they supply. Pretty simple job. We're gonna go ahead and rip this water pump off anyway, because a couple things. It doesn't have seals on it, and there's a wonky hose that goes between the intake and the water pump on these FEs for a bypass. Neat thing about this water pump, maybe not so much neat, but when it was kind of stored away when I disassembled this engine, a mouse had filled it with some rabbit feed, and the specific part of the rabbit feed, I don't know if you've ever had meat rabbits or a show rabbit or anything like that, but in the bag of pellets there's these little green discs that probably have some nutrient, I don't know, like a hay supplement kind of thing, a forage ordeal. But that thing was plumb full of those little green rabbit feed discs. Thought something was wrong with it, but I got them all out. Against my better judgment, I'm going to try to at least roll this old girl on her side, since we're doing oil pan stuff. I know it's tremendously difficult to get it back over. Let's go this way. Yep. Get my screwdriver ready. Maybe that's as far as I want to go. Woo! Okay. Let's just keep her there. Yep, we're good. Okay. Ooh. KFC bucket. You know, all these mechanics have their tech tips and hacks and tricks. You know what mine is? When you feed your family KFC, save that bucket. Now, if you know your Ford FE engines, you might say, Nathan, that's not the right oil pan, and you'd be correct. This engine came out of a 72 Ford 4x4 250, the authentic highboy, and that gets you a rear sump oil pan, and rear sump oil pans are coveted because they're hard to find. You'll have your pickup tube right here, which I just noticed I left the bolts in there for myself, which is cool for the oil pump. And anyway, you'll see right here, if you can, there is a main cap bolt that has a stud on it, and your pickup tube will have a little bracket. Pickup tube will come right here, and you have a rear sump pan. Those things are worth about $300-$400 nowadays, maybe more. I'm not sure, but so I sold it, and the dipstick tube would go into the pan on this four-wheel drive models. So on this one, we're gonna have to knock out the plug in the dipstick tube that's by the oil filter adapter. This is a Summit Racing aftermarket pan, and it should be a car pan, and I chose that for a reason, because I need a car pan to clear that cross member to fit the big block in the 63. Now it gets a little wonky because now I really don't know what pickup tube I'm ordering. I ordered everything melling from the distributor drive to the oil pump to the pickup tube. Matter of fact, I think even the lifters and the push rods in this motor are melling. Just easy, affordable, decent stock parts. But it's a bit of gamble on what I ordered. I don't know if I just ordered like a Thunderbird or something pickup tube. I was pretty confident in the oil pump. These things, and a lot of Fords, I don't know if this is common, can twist the oil drive, the oil pump drive. It's kind of like a hex key, and it can turn these things into a Twizzler and snap, and you lose oil pressure. They're a bit difficult to replace when the engine's in the vehicle, but it can be done. So I ordered all the parts with the pan I think I might fit, but I haven't quite put all these parts together. So that's what we're going to do today, is just kind of mock everything up and see if it fits. So we'll go over to the part shelf here. Pretty sure this is my pump. Pickup tube. I don't know what the rest is. This is all we really care about now. M57. With gaskets. Get out of here. All right. Yeah. So the only thing I'll be missing is pickup tube bolts, which they go all the way through. So looks like a 5/16 bolt, no problem there. Let's get this mounted up, see if this pickup tube clears the pan. This thing should go that. Let's bolt it up without a gasket. See what we're up against. Quick 90 on it, and it stays shallow. That looks like we're gonna be all right. Let me grab a couple bolts. I think we got lucky here, guys. I was kind of worried because I really needed this to pan out. If it didn't, kind of stopped the project in its tracks, because I don't have a C6 transmission to bolt up to this right now to test fit it in the truck. So my plan was to button up this engine, and I've got a FE bell housing that I can mount up and kind of hope it would duplicate a C6 bell housing, just the space it occupies. Then I could get this engine sitting in the truck and kind of see what of the existing cross members I need to chip away at. All right, moment of truth. Will this fit? Barely clears the windage pan. Oh yeah, we're on there. I think we got all sorts of room. So what I'm going to come and do is come right off the block, put this square on here, put this square on this pickup, 5 3/8. That's, oh gosh, 5 1/2. So, can you have an 1/8 inch clearance between a pickup tube and the bottom? I don't know about that question. Comment below what you guys think. It does kind of taper down towards the back. And it's nestled in that crotch of the windage. It doesn't give you much more. 9/16, 5/8 maybe. So that gives you at most a 1/4 inch clearance between the pickup. Next order of businesses. Boo! It's done fell over. Pop this distributor out. And well, mistakes were made. It's okay, we can backtrack just a little bit. I was getting ready to throw this oil pump drive shaft in there. Now, these FE ones have this retaining ring on top. I don't know if you can see that guy or if I can show you. Got a little pick tool. It's right there. Now what's that designed to do is to be on the distributor end, so when you pull the distributor out, it doesn't, you know, stick with the distributor and then bloop, plop back in the oil pan, and now you're in a real pickle. So you got to put this in from the bottom and drop it in the pump, but I already tightened the pump up, so I can't get it in the pump, so no big deal. Just gonna do a little thing. We'll crack this. Oh, that's right. I needed shallow socket. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. That's okay. So here we are doing it right. Hopefully that's enough. And it's not. That's cool. See if I can't hurry up and show you what I'm talking about before my GoPro light dies. You can see that's where the gear of your distributor rides. And there is the drive gear for the camshaft. And then the little snout on your distributor will engage the drive shaft rod right there. Oh, no. Here's the pump, here's the drive rod. So when you pull your distributor out and this shaft hangs up with the distributor, you can hear that lock collar hitting the bottom of the block, and it will not fall out of the pump. If you don't use that lock collar and you pull the distributor out, it's going to go doo-doo-doo-doo-doo and land in your pan. Then you're in a pickle. So that's exactly how you want it, right there. So now we can install this oil pan, button all this up, get this engine over, get the distributor in, go from there. Actually, I cannot get the pan on. That was a straight lie. Please forgive me. I need to get this plug knocked out of the block for a dipstick that I don't have. Can't swing a hammer. Oh, there it goes. Fell in the pan. Got it. Take thingy. All right. Get the spark plug out so we can really see exactly the stroke of that piston. And we'll drop that distributor then and get it somewhat close to timing. And oh, I like how I instinctively inspect a spark plug even though this engine's never ran. Because I'm an idiot. We'll turn this engine over and watch this valve train and get cylinder 1 on top dead center. Oh, I think we just skipped the power stroke. Exhaust stroke. Intake. Lifters are squishy. Compression. That feels about top dead center. Let's check our timing mark. Perfect. For the sake of being perfect. Let's drop this distributor in. And 1, 2, 3, go. That's where she's going to be for now, boys. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Well, before I go ahead and button up the top end of this, put the valve covers on, I gotta go milk the cow. And she's being awful stubborn. So we're gonna knock that out real quick. Well, that went terrible. I've been kicked by a lot of cows in my time. And that old girl out there just worked me over. She really did a number on my praying feet. That's my knees, you know, when you get down and talk to the Lord. So, forgive me if I pray for a long time. It's not because I got a lot to talk about. Because I can't get back up again. I was going to go unpack the cherry picker from the feed shed, because it's been assembled in here, tucked in the corner for way too long, and I'm getting tired of rolling it around, and it was always in my way. So I disassembled it and put it in the back of the feed shed. Lo and behold, kind of ready for it. Because after I worked that cross member and fit the headers and find a starter to make sure that fits with those headers, we're going to be ready to stab this in the 63 for a little bit. See if we got to do any torch work on existing cross members. Bet that was the tool I needed. Nope. We did put new push rods in her. Remember that. Because I ordered the wrong ones at first. These FEs are a little wonky if you've never messed with them. Put that there. There's some spark plugs back in her. Keep any mices. Oh. Oh. My knees are shot. Oh. Mices and spiders and dust bunnies and all those creatures. Because we ain't got a static-free engine building room around here. No, sir. Let's get this cherry picker unpacked. Oh, she's buried. Great. Oh. Ah! Lots of sharp objects. Ooh, a garden hose. What was that? Oh, my pitchfork. Been looking for you, buddy. Ah! That was expensive. Oh, it's over. Oh, saved the hardware. Good for me. Balance. balance. Oh God. Okay. Maybe we should have put it together in the barn. That would have been a good idea. Getting awful close to putting ourselves in a position to temporarily throw this engine in the truck. I know from grinding on the other side of this cross member, I'm gonna have to take a decent amount off this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hit it with the cutoff wheel. It's nice when your engine that doesn't even have oil in it already has an oil leak. It's my kind of quality. Well, I do know I'm not going to use this cling spore cutoff wheel. I should have known better. Years ago, we had a salesman in this area who was going to all the shops trying to peddle those things, and we actually pulled one over on him. We said, hey, in millwrighting on grain facilities, we can't throw sparks. That's a fire hazard, so we need cutoff wheels or cutoff discs that don't throw sparks. And he left the office and called the engineers at Cling Spore and probably got laughed at. Anyway, what I'm getting at, years later, cruising around town, and guy was having a state sale and saw a box of cutoff wheels. He said a few bucks. I said, I'll take them. Get to talking to him, and he was the salesman from Cling Spore. And against my better judgment, I bought the whole box. And they are terrible cutoff wheels. Those headers are pretty well bashed in. We're just gonna have to start grinding on this cross member. Well, it's not great, but it'll do for now, just for test fit and everything. Ratchet strap up here so we can control the tail end of it as if you would had you a transmission on it. Kind of get it up over stuff. Because I'm by myself. Can't be muscling this around. I think I got the wrong ratchet strap here. Just go a little higher. Maybe that'll do. Comment below if you guys use ratchet straps when you're picking engines. Doing it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're professionals here. No. Casters all sideways. Oh no. Is my cherry picker gonna hit this thing? No, I think we're okay. Right off the rip, we're getting dangerously close to that transmission cross member. Alright. Bell housing's starting to hit the tranny tunnel. That's fine. Hopefully we'll come down right behind that shock tower. Pull it forward and go down awful slow. Nice and easy. And then we're gonna stop. And we're gonna, oh, come here, buddy. Well, I guess I didn't get the exhaust all the way out. Way to go, Nathan. How are we looking over here? Okay, not bad. Not bad. We just, yep, keep scratching up my paint. My Detroit Diesel Alpine Green, in case you're wondering what color that was. I've painted a lot of engines Ford blue in my day, and I've had enough. Let's put my arm under this precariously hanging. Get out of here. So I went with this Alpine green color. It was beautiful. This engine actually crank pulley. I knew we were gonna have to cut out that front cross member. But we might just miss it for now. Barely. Alright, we touched down over here. Goodness gracious. Oh no, we're not over there. Oh, I gotta see if we're getting into that steering box. And we still need to go back. Alright, let's get some lights up in here. Oh no, we're not getting into the steering box at all. But our collectors are hitting that transmission cross member. So that's as far back as we can go. So that thing's gonna have to come out, which we kind of already knew that, right? Right? And there we're about to hit it. Alright. But we do need to go, I guess, undo our ratchet strap and let her hang naturally. Alright. Actually, we are gonna crudely cut that out real quick. I don't like that one bit. Come on up. Alright, let's cut that out. All right, let's try this again. We'll just start as far back as we can. And go. And go. All right. That's kind of in there. Just for the sake of feeling good about ourselves, let's do this. All right. That about wraps it up for this video. A little tuckered out, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. But here's what I know, and here's some things I don't know. So the big block fits. It's sitting there unassisted. What I do know is this front cross member, which would be the old engine's front motor mount, has got to go. I know the transmission cross member has got to go. In order to do that, we're going to lose some structural abilities in her underparts. So we might be able to do something as simple as throw the front bumper on to kind of brace the frame up and, you know, crudely weld 2x2 angle across it to hold it until we get everything in, because that Transdap engine cross member, and here is a Transdap transmission cross member for a C6 transmission that I had got. But until we get all of that really buttoned into where we need everything to be, we're just going to be kind of flopping around. So we'll have to do a little bracing up, no big deal. A couple things I'm watching though. Once we get that transmission cross member out of the way, you know, we've got to get this engine a few more inches back towards the firewall. And when we come back a few more inches, we're going to run into danger with this header pipe hitting the steering gearbox, which we might have 2 inches there. And if you look in this line, I just kind of mocked the fan up. Here's the bolts for the front clip. The core support will be here. So I'm going to assume kind of the radiator's in line with that. So we're going to need this engine to go back, oh gosh, maybe until it hits that power or that steering gearbox. Hopefully no more than that. If we can just kiss it, that would be fine, and then we can get away with this or take away that ridiculous, you know, extender thingy snout on the fan and kind of get her back a little bit. I haven't crawled around underneath, so I really don't know what all we're dealing with there, but for now the engine can just sit here, get acquainted. I'll roll her back outside and throw a tarp on her. I think it'll be okay. We don't have rain for quite a while, but we're gonna have to pull it back out, do some more tweaking around, get these cross members cut out, get this frame braced off, and continue the hunt for a big block C6 transmission, which has been a little problematic. I found a few, just haven't been able to seal the deal. But at the end of the day, hey, the engine's off the stand, off the cherry picker, and in the chassis. What more could a guy want on a nice evening like this? Shut up, Cricket! Well, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you comment below all the idiotic stuff that I did wrong. And make sure that you like the video and you're subscribed to the channel.